Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast in 2026, and it's a news round, everything from December. From EA potentially being taken over to Warner Brothers potentially being taken over, and people having to work overtime at Naughty Dog. It's a good month for news. Roll the tape. All right, I'm joined by my classic news anchors. It's the console-hating, PC-playing, retro-repping, lore-seeking, full-time Canadian himself, back fresh from the homeland, Chris Robbins. Hello, Chris.
What's going on?
And, of course, it is Luke, the Steam Deck-verified Maycock. How you doing, Luke?
Hell yeah, I'm doing good, Darren.
I'm here with my PC-playing buddies.
I can't believe he got Steam Deck verified. Like, I've been the fucking PC rep for ages.
Fucking staying out, dude.
But you're the PC-playing. Console hating.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
all right.
Like every time we go through this, Chris, you're always demanding more titles. It's only so long.
No. I demanded one title. You're the one that kept throwing shit up. I still hate console hating. Not a console hater.
Would you prefer console no opinion? It doesn't have the same ring to it.
I want to Switch too, man. Like, I have a console.
Do you like the Switch too?
Yeah, it's fun. It has its charm. It has its place in video gaming.
I'm certainly not putting you in as the console loving Chris Robbins, that's for sure. You're not selling me on that at all. But Chris, did you have a nice time in Canada? You had a nice time back home?
I did. Yep. It was. It's been kind of hit and miss the past few years. Like when I go back for Christmas, like whether I'm going to see, a beautiful white Christmas. Mm-hmm. Although I wasn't there on Christmas Day this year, but either way. Tons of fucking snow, tons of ice. It was a winter wonderland.
Lovely.
And yeah,
Lovely.
It was very nice. I had to buy boots the moment I got there, though. Like, it was...
Yeah. There's too much snow.
Too much.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind going over there that time of year. I had my only experience of Canada, or my true experience of Canada, was the warmest, driest summer in Vancouver they had on history up to that point. So in my head, Canada for me is just like...
Beautiful tropical
place.
Oh,
man. Yeah. I had such a nice time. Beaches every day, like at lunch from work, so...
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing is like people always talk about the Canadian winters, but they never talk about the summers and how fucking hot they can get.
Yeah, I had a real nice time when I was there. So it's a while ago now. Luke, how was your Christmas?
Yeah, good, really good. I played a lot of games and just chilled. Yeah, just took it really easy. But yeah, happy to be back and be doing the ill Potteroo
podcast. Do you have a highlight of your games from Christmas?
I do, yeah. I played indie horror sensation from 2024, Mouthwashing.
Oh shit! I picked that up. I haven't played it yet.
It's good as fuck. Yeah. I
played Cuphead.
You played Cuphead over Christmas.
Yeah. Because I only brought my Steam Deck and I was like, this will play well.
Not the same.
Cuphead. It's great. It's tough.
It started out as one of the hardest games I've ever played, and now I'm just like,
you're bossing it.
It's trying to just get the S classes, the S tiers or whatever. S ranks. So.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, we've got a fair bit of news to cover. So if it's all right with you guys, I'm gonna hop right in. To our very first news story of 2026, this is coming from early December, that Saudi Arabia's PIF will own over 93.4% of EA if the deal is fully completed. This is coming from GamesIndustry.biz by Alex Forbes Calvin, and it reads as so. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund will allegedly own more than 93.4% of Electronic Arts if its acquisition of the company is successful. The Wall Street Journal reports that per a filing with the Brazilian antitrust regulator, the PIF will own almost all of the US publishing giant once the go-private deal is completed. The other parties in the consortium acquiring Electronic Arts, Silver Lake and Affinity Partners, will own 5.5% and 1.1% respectively. The Public Investment Fund is also a significant investor in both Affinity Partners and Silver Lake, the other parties involved in the consortium. The cumulative effect is that the Saudi Arabia PIF will effectively own EA outright. At the end of September, it was reported that Electronic Arts is being acquired by the consortium for $55 billion, with the news being officially announced later that same day. The deal is set to close in the first quarter of EA's 2027 financial year, ending June 30th, 2026. While it's not passed regulatory approvals yet, Affinity Partners was created and is operated by Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of US President Donald Trump, which is expected to make things easier for the consortium. CEO Andrew Wilson is going to stay on as Electronic Arts Chief Executive Officer. In memo to staff, EA said the deal will not change how it operates, saying that its mission, values, and commitment to players and fans around the world remain unchanged. Adding that, quote, EA will maintain creative control and our track record of creative freedom and player-first values will remain intact, end quote. In November, the New York Times reported the Public Investment Fund was allegedly running low on cash for new investments. This is due to a number of projects it is involved in being in financial distress, though none of these are related to its numerous games investments, including Scopely, Embracer Group, and major shareholdings in Take-Two and Nintendo. Oh, sorry, it goes on. I've got an update. This is coming from the end of December. So Electronic Arts, EA, and sorry, this update's from Instant Gaming News by Enzo, no surname. Electronic Arts shareholders have officially approved the sale of the company to a consortium of investors led by the PIF in a historic $55 billion buyout. This approval follows an agreement reached earlier in the year in which the Public Investment Fund would purchase a majority stake of approximately 93%. Despite concerns from some American fans and politicians, EA will continue to operate as usual in the United States, maintaining its internal creative control, although the exact role of the Public Investment Fund in future management has yet to be clearly defined. End of the article. So, I'm not keen on EA, or I wasn't keen on EA before. I think I'm less keen on EA now.
I feel nothing
Discuss.
for what you was just spoken. Like, I don't care about it. I don't even hate EA enough to like care about this and like be happy about it. Like, they're just not on my radar at all anymore. So it's just meh.
Yeah, fair. Luke?
It's a weird one. They don't really represent much in gaming anymore outside of like
Sports.
yeah,
It's the pinnacle
sports,
of greed
yeah.
that we've fucking given up on ages ago.
Yeah, being like predators on their consumers and like doing everything they can to ham-fist some kind of money-making scheme into their games. It's funny, there's the sentence in that article that EA's commitment to its player base.
Oh, yeah. Should I read it for you two again?
Yeah.
EA will maintain creative control, and our track record of creative freedom and a player-first value will remain intact.
So nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep being terrible at all
Keep
those
being really
things.
bad. But it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the trio of evil. Saudi Arabia, you know, getting the grubby mitts on, you know, trying to, I suppose, whitewashing what they're involved in. Jared Kushner being involved in this, and EA themselves, you know.
Saudi Arabia already has so much money. What do you think the chances are of like this was kind of pushed along by like some young prince? It's just like he wants to buy EA in order to make games better again.
Why do they want to buy EA though? I know that they...
I don't know. Maybe he really likes fucking FIFA or NHL or something.
I'd say you look at it in terms of money making. EA is probably a bit of a money making machine based on their... what would you say?
I don't think so. I think they're like probably hemorrhaging money these days.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. They had their one hit from last year was Split Fiction, which always was funny to me that was an EA.
Wait,
Yes.
that is EA?
Yeah, that's EA,
Split
yeah.
Fiction is EA.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Which is, there was a bit of irony.
The opposite of what they're trying to do, though.
Yeah. Well, the irony was that the main theme or the main plot twist or the main plot-driven thing for that game is it's about a giant media conglomeration that gets a bunch of cool, artsy, independent writers in and tries to steal their ideas out of their brains. And then these two of the writers like end up rebelling against it and whatever. And I was like, this is published by EA?
What's going on here? Who allowed this one to go through by their standards?
Do they see?
Their gross profit from last year is in and around 5.92 billion. So, which, and funny enough, is down 11% on the previous year.
Yeah. I think they're losing more and more every year.
I think most of the big gaming like platforms,
AAA ones seem to be, right?
Yeah, they're all kind of spiraling. Like Ubisoft has been spiraling for the past like 2 or 3 years, and they're just like more Assassin's Creed, and that's their answer to everything.
Isn't EA Call of Duty too? No.
That's
no, it's not. But
It used to be EA Activision, didn't it? Now it's Blizzard Activision.
It's Blizzard Activision, because Blizzard, or is that just Activision? Maybe it might have been a joint thing. It's just Activision, because that's who Microsoft bought up, was Activision, which was the big deal to get Call of Duty.
Blizzard and Activision are partnered.
Same company.
Yeah, they are the same now, though. So does Microsoft own Blizzard now too?
Yeah,
Did that happen?
Yeah.
That was the Blizzard Activision deal. They own Blizzard and World of Warcraft, and that's all Microsoft.
Brain's still not thawed out from Canada.
Or just get them out of the ice, folks.
Yeah.
To me, it's just another reason to. I haven't really Split Fiction was one that me and Graham were playing through. that I wanted to play through for the Game of the Year, to have like a good opinion on all the kind of nominees that went in. But aside from that, I don't think I've purchased an EA game in a long time. I lost a lot of the last kind of stuff I was involved with was probably FIFA. I was buying FIFAs up until about 2017.
Apex, I think Apex would have been
not
developed by, but published, I think, right?
I forgot that as well.
Yeah.
It is an EA game, isn't it?
I think so.
It's published by EA, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I think that was the last, was probably 2017 or 2016 was the last kind of FIFA game that I would have purchased.
Actually, is that new game from the Titanfall devs that everyone's giving shit?
They're completely solo, I think.
Are they even publishing? Like, it's not, because EA was
What's the game?
I don't know, the one where you're on horses.
Highgarden?
Oh, the new one that they announced at the end of the Game Awards.
That's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Concord 2?
Yeah. Fucking hell. Why can't we learn from our mistakes, folks? Yeah. History is a way of always repeating itself, but it does that really fast in the video game industry. It's just like things from a couple of months ago we've already forgotten. So yes, that's not good news, I don't think. That seems like greed, and more greed. But good luck, EA. And to the people who still buy EA games. Speaking of Call of Duty, this is a great segue into my next article, which is Call of Duty is underperforming in 2025. This is from GameSpot, from Eddie Makuch. Apologies, Eddie, if I Makuch? No E at the end, just Makuch. Makuch? I'm sorry, Eddie, you let us know. The Gift of Game podcast@gmail.com. So, according to one analyst, Call of Duty as a franchise is underperforming in 2025 due to a variety of factors. Reese Elliott of Alenia Analytics said in an interview that some of the factors that he believes are contributing to Call of Duty's decline include, quote, community burnout, questionable creative and business decisions by Activision, Microsoft, and strong competition, end quote. In terms of the competition, Elliott called out Battlefield 6 and Ark Raiders, along with Fortnite, which recently had a popular Simpsons season and launched its positively received Chapter 7. Quote, Xbox dropped the ball on the wrong year as this year saw some of the most exciting shooter releases in years, Elliott told Eurogamer. Attention is scarce. Elliott went on to say that players are becoming increasingly dissatisfied with Call of Duty's lack of innovation. Prior to the Black Ops 7 release, Elliott said people would buy Black Ops 7 even if they complained about a lack of innovation because many people buy new Call of Duty games yearly as part of autopilot purchasing. Elliott also predicted that Black Ops 7 would outsell Battlefield 6, but he made this prediction prior to the release of both games. Elliott also pointed out that Call of Duty's turn toward more Fortnite-like cosmetics and non-military character skins like Beavis and Butthead and Nicki Minaj has, quote, alienated a significant portion of the fan base who would prefer a more grounded military aesthetic. For what it's worth, Black Ops 7 does not feature the same kind of wacky and over-the-top skins that Black Ops 6 had, in part because Activision said it heard the concerns that Call of Duty had strayed from its identity. Warzone, however, still has all of those kinds of skins. For Black Ops 7 specifically, Elliott said the game's co-op campaign was a major point of criticism, while the game's use of, quote, AI slop was a sore spot for some. I actually looked up what the AI slop was. There are, I suppose, like skill tree playing cards that you access, and all the artwork on all of those things was apparently all AI. So all the skill-based leveling up stuff is AI.
And
great.
It's also they've always been in Call of Duty, but you get the banners, like that'll show.
Oh, and your rank and stuff?
Yeah, or just
name?
like when you kill somebody, it'll just be like Darren.
Oh, yeah.
And then it'll have like the background of just, fucking some guy with guns or just, I don't know, a unicorn. Like all those are
AI?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what I've heard.
Player reception was also largely negative, with a mostly negative Steam user score and review bombing galore. Long-standing player frustrations like the perceived impact of skill-based matchmaking and the focus on heavy microtransactions, skins and bundles, over core gameplay quality continue to drive players away from the franchise, he added. Additionally, Elliott said Black Ops 7 launching into Games Pass, quote, cannibalized traditional full-price game sales, end quote, for Xbox and PC. He pointed to the reporting that said Black Ops 7 missed out on $300 million in potential sales due to the game being on Game Pass. Quote, our estimates have signaled time and time again that Game Pass cannibalizes game revenues, and Call of Duty is no different, he said. Beyond all of this, Elliott said the marketing for Black Ops 7 was pretty abysmal and underwhelming, while the game's formal reveal event at Call of Duty Next was messy and did little to excite the community. This is again in stark contrast to the community-driven, focused marketing of Battlefield and Ark, whose development and marketing has been incredibly community-driven, he said. Battlefield 6 has sold more than 10 million copies. Do you want to...
What marketing did Ark even do? Like, it had one trailer in the Game Awards years ago, and then it was released, and then it was like...
I think
one
in
of the
terms
best games. It's literally just word of mouth and just
streamers
like, fucking
and
Mr. Peanut or Burnt Peanut or whatever.
yeah.
I think that's what they mean by the community-driven marketing. Like they're just not doing.
Here's our
anything. It's
game.
the community are doing it
Yeah.
all.
Oh, okay.
The game is so popular that the community are doing the work for them, I guess.
fair
You know,
enough.
Battlefield 6 has sold more than 10 million copies reportedly, but there is no sales data available yet for Black Ops 7. Any comparison would be incomplete and unfair, as Black Ops 7 is on Games Pass and is available on more platforms than Battlefield 6. No shooter has outsold Call of Duty in terms of a full year in the US since 2006, though Battlefield 6 has already eclipsed the first month sales of Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare 3. Do we continue to see a yearly release of Call of Duty under Activision's new ownership, Microsoft?
Probably.
Do you think...
Did it still turn a profit?
They have not got the sales data available yet for Black Ops 7 at this time, so I don't know.
I bet it still probably turned a profit.
Yeah, I'd say it still turns a profit, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. I know that's not very interesting, like news critique or whatever, but it's Call of Duty. I was really intrigued by that comment that it will be the first time another FPS has outsold Call of Duty since 2006.
Yeah, it's
which
crazy.
Is obviously COD
Don't
4.
There is a part of me that I do get the itch from now and then, and I would like to play another Call of Duty at some point.
Yeah.
But this wasn't it, man. Even without the AI and the aggressive microtransactions, did you see what the game was about? It was a fucking fever dream, man. It was completely off the rails.
Black Ops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like with it had like
the
control,
giant mecha
control
rooker.
vibes. Yeah. Very strange.
So dumb.
The interesting thing, it's one of those things I'd like to kind of get into more to see if there's any sort of genuine kind of studies, reviews on what they have actually in here quoted as autopilot purchasing. Like, what does it take for someone who's into the Call of Duty infrastructure? Like, what does it genuinely take for them to stop buying the game? You know, like how bad does it have to get before people actually get out of this, like turn autopilot off? Do you know what I mean, for game buying? Because FIFA would have been a thing for me by 2013 to 2016. I bought the game every year for like those 3 or 4 years. And it wasn't a massive upkeep in innovation over those 4 years. But I still was couldn't fucking wait. And all it was so I could just have the freshest, most up-to-date squad in my Wigan team, you know, which was always poor anyway. So, but just weird. The autopiloting purchasing thing is a strange one for me. I wonder how bad generally a game has to get before you can actually switch that off as people who are mad fans of any series.
It's a good question. I mean, Halo was another game that was kind of autopiloted for a while, and then eventually they just went free to play, I think.
Which was this, sorry?
Halo. Right? People would always religiously buy that every time it came out. Then it just went free to play, and I think they must have anticipated that they knew the numbers were dying off.
Do you mean free to play because it was on Games Pass? Or...
No,
the
multiplayer.
Halo
the
Infinite is
multiplayer, okay, yeah.
The
well,
multiplayer.
which is what we're talking about. Nobody's buying Call of Duty for the fucking campaign.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess you don't want to get left behind in an old multiplayer game.
Yeah, and Call of Duty kind of did the same as well with their Battle Royale. That's free to play, isn't it?
Yeah, Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone was free to play. So they were all kind of opting for that model around then, just trying to stay relevant by becoming
hurting themselves. But I think if you buy the new Call of Duties, you get extra guns in the Battle Royale available to you.
Yeah,
I think there's some sort of
incentives.
tie-in between buying the game and then the actual Battle Royale stuff, which is just bullshit.
Yeah.
So,
I think there are incentives.
It's interesting. Everything's going to. I think a lot of change is coming, especially with the success of what we would call indie or smaller companies this year, with Embark and Arc Raiders and Expedition 33 and Silk Song just destroying all the competition. It's going to be a good 2026. I think.
You think so?
I think there's potential. I think consumers are wising up, which means developers or these big greedy corporations are going to have to start wising up too. So
the writing's on the wall for them at least.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we get some kind of positive change in that area. But moving on to not so positive change and less competition for the consumers is Warner Brothers officially rejects Paramount's takeover bid. urges shareholders to approve the Netflix deal. So this is coming from Wesley Inpool over at IGN. So basically, before I get into this article is based purely on the takeover of the media side. But I want to give the background for the takeover, and what I want to get into then is what does that mean for WB Games, because they are included as part of the takeover. They're not directly mentioned in this article. So just to give a bit of a background, Warner Brothers Discovery has told its shareholders they should reject Paramount Skydance's $108.4 billion takeover bid for the company, urging them to approve the Netflix deal instead. A post on Warner Brothers' financial website confirmed that its board of directors had decided that Paramount's bid is not in the best interests of WBD and its shareholders and does not meet the criteria of, quote, super proposal under the terms of WBD's merger agreement with Netflix announced on December 5th, 2025. Explaining why, Warner Brothers hit out at Paramount, accusing it of consistently misleading its shareholders by saying its bid had a, quote, full backstop from the Ellison family. Quote, it does not and never has, Warner Brothers said. PSKY's, this is Paramount Skydance's most recent proposal includes a $40.65 billion equity commitment for which there is no Ellison family commitment of any kind, Warner Brothers continued. Instead, they propose that you rely on an unknown and opaque revocable trust for the certainty of this crucial deal funding, despite having been told repeatedly by WBD how important a full and unconditional financing commitment from the Ellison family was, and despite their own ample resources as well as multiple assurance by PSKY during our strategic review process that such a commitment was forthcoming, the Ellison family has chosen not to backstop the P-Sky offer. An irrevocable trust is no replacement for a secured commitment by a controlling stockholder. The assets and liabilities of the trust are not publicly disclosed and are subject to change. As the name indicates, revocable trusts typically have provisions allowing for assets to be moved at any time, and the documents provided by P-Sky for this conditional commitment contain gaps, loopholes, and limitations that put you, our shareholders, and our company at risk. Earlier this week, the private equity firm owned by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, pulled its backing for Paramount's hostile takeover bid.
Involved again?
Leaving it with the backing of the wealth funds run by three governments in the Persian Gulf, widely reported as Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar. Netflix, as you'd expect, welcomed the decision. The Warner Brothers Discovery Board reinforced that Netflix's merger agreement is superior and that our acquisition is in the best interest of stockholders, said Ted Sarandos, Netflix co-CEO. Quote, this was a competitive process that delivered the best outcome for consumers, creators, stockholders, and the broader entertainment industry. Netflix and Warner Brothers complement each other, and we're excited to combine our strengths with the theatrical film division, world-class television studio, and the iconic HBO brand, which will continue to focus on prestige television. We're also fully committed to releasing Warner Brothers films in theaters with a traditional window so audiences everywhere can enjoy them on the big screen. Paramount launches hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery soon after Netflix emerged as the winner of a lengthy bidding war with an $82.7 billion deal. WB shareholders deserve an opportunity to consider a superior all-cash offer for their shares in the entire company, Paramount boss David Ellison said in a statement announcing his company's hostile bid. Our public offer, which is on the same terms we provided to the Warner Brothers Discovery Board of Directors in private, provides superior value and a more certain and quicker path to completion. It kind of goes on more about what they can offer. But to move on, after its announcement, Netflix sent subscribers an email of reassurance amid concern over potential price rises. The email, reviewed by IGN, promised subscribers that nothing was changing, quote, today, and confirmed that HBO Max and Netflix would continue to operate separately until the deal closes. It did not rule out future price rises, but did promise that current membership plans would remain in place at least until the deal goes through. As for when that will be, Netflix said it expects to close the transaction in 12 to 18 months, so at the earliest December 2026, but it could be as late as summer 2027. In an investor call attended by IGN, Netflix chief Ted Sarandos struck a confident tone when asked about the deal's chance of success. Quote, we're highly confident in the regulatory process. He said this deal is pro-consumer, pro-innovation, pro-worker, it's pro-creator, it's pro-growth, end quote. As part of the same call, Sarandos said Netflix would continue to release Warner Brothers movies in theaters for now, though expected theatrical release windows to shorten over time to become more user-friendly. One report has claimed that Netflix is particularly keen to obtain Warner Brothers' vast content library as the streamer ramps up its potential to offer AI generation tools and content in the future. Gentlemen, do we think that one big company taking over all the other companies is pro-consumer, pro-innovation, pro-worker?
Yeah, I love monopoly.
It's good. It's good for us, right?
I mean, it's still far from a monopoly. There's still so many,
But they're on their way.
out there. Nah, I don't.
One step, man.
They're on their way.
So, I mean,
why? Like, Warner Brothers clearly wanted to sell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they
So it was going to happen.
bids.
You can't just force somebody to stay open. It's like, no, you have to keep making movies and like running your company. You can't just force them, right?
I'm not saying that I want to force Warner Brothers to keep their doors open. I'm saying that like this is going to be the inevitable fate of like loads of studios will get smaller and smaller and be less and less profitable, and then their IPs will just get hoovered up into the big. Now I can't believe Netflix is like the big guy.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Over,
to
like,
put it in
where they came
perspective,
from,
the reason I kind of wanted to talk about this article because I want to talk about WB Games, which will be part of this takeover. Their IPs include Batman, Arkham series, Mortal Kombat, all the Lego games, Hogwarts Legacy, Suicide Squad. So basically anything in terms of IPs, DC and Harry Potter based and Lego based is all in the realm now of
Lord
Netflix.
of the Rings, Lord of the Rings isn't there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Amazon,
Yep.
I think.
Lord of the
No,
Rings.
Lord of the Rings is
WB Games.
the games is WB Games.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So like Shadow
Okay.
War, Shadow Ward, they're WB Games.
Yeah, so they're all kind of, I suppose, anything there is at risk. And the reason I say is at risk is because Netflix is coming in to take over WB Games. Do we believe that Netflix cares about the gaming side of all this?
Yeah.
WB doesn't care, so like it can't be any worse.
I would have said it was trying in recent years. I think Hogwarts
I don't
Legacy
think
was a good...
no, they were fucking up real bad, man.
Suicide Squad was poor, yeah.
Suicide Squad, they fumbled the ball with multiverses. They hung on to the
Multiverses,
Nemesis
yeah.
system for ages.
Gotham Knights.
I think they were
Yeah.
Gotham Knights. They were a bad company. They didn't really care. They were doing the same greedy shit as always. So, okay, if Netflix takes over, what are they going to do? Keep doing the same greedy shit and ruining their games?
So we don't think
Fine.
it can get any
Nothing's
worse.
changed.
But we think it might get better.
I think it can only get better. I don't think it can get worse because we've already hit the rock bottom with WB.
Also, there's an argument to be made, like Netflix, Netflix games, like, is a thing. Bundles
Yes,
in with
but,
your subscription.
but in terms of, like, they're offering, I know the Red Dead Redemption is there.
Red Dead
on
Redemption, Dead Cells is there.
Yeah.
That Leia's Horizon, that looked good. Moonlighter is an indie game that I had on my Xbox for like years now and just never got around to playing, and that's on there. Sonic Mania plus Street Fighter 4. I'm just
Street Fighter 4 is on there.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's wild.
And had you play them on your mobile? Does your
Oh my
mobile work
god!
as a
Before
controller?
Your Eyes is on there. That's like one of my favorite indie games. Like, I don't know. I don't have a Netflix.
I've
subscription,
I've
so
never tried to play games on Netflix. I have no idea. But
Before
that's,
Your Eyes is one of my favorite indie games, and that's on.
Well, it's
Netflix
probably just
games.
cloud streaming.
It is streaming, but I don't know how necessarily how it works.
It's probably better than any other company that does it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do
You click a controller or something.
like WB Games. I don't know the facts and figures.
Route Zero is on Netflix games. What?
Look, you need to get yourself a Netflix
I'm getting
subscription.
my mind blown.
Do like my worry is that Chris, you're saying it can't get any worse in terms of the quality of
For
games.
WB, because WB is already shit.
Yeah. The games haven't been in the best of quality, but my worry is they have these IPs. DC is WB. Do you know what I mean? Like anything
Yeah.
DC. What if Netflix come in and says, yeah, we're not interested in making games. So, okay, you're not getting crap games, but we'll never get a Batman game. We'll never get a Superman game, Suicide Squad, Hogwarts. It could all be... It comes
Okay,
into
so if
decision of the
Netflix comes in and says they're not interested in making games, I doubt they would refuse to license those IPs out to a company that wants to make a game.
Yeah, to make
'Cause
money
Netflix
off.
does like
Yeah.
money, and they do like, making more content. Even if they're not the ones creating it, it's just like, oh, now we have another like subsidiary under our wing that's making content for us.
Also, I don't believe that Netflix would go that direction to begin with, because as far as I can see from Netflix games, I think the place they want to end up is, oh, here's a new game that you can only play on your Netflix subscription.
Would it be wild if they took like the whole idea like Love, Death, and Robots and just made like a DC game version of that, where you just like give it to a bunch of like small companies and just like crank out just a tiny little like arcade
Batman
fun.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They did technically do their own indie game for the new Black Mirror season, the Thronglets.
Oh, you make your decisions throughout that one where you use
No,
your phone?
that was Bandersnatch. No, I mean the latest season had an episode where there's like this video game that kind of essentially takes over the world. Spoiler. But you get to play that video game on Netflix, like if you want.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was cool.
Clever move, clever marketing.
Mixed media marketing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it is possible that like Netflix do want their own IPs that are only hosted on the Netflix platform. So yeah, I could see them taking something like a DC property and being like, yeah, we've developed a new Batman game. You can only play it on Netflix. That makes the most sense for me. But also, yeah, even if they didn't do that, I can see them licensing, because they love money. So they're not just going to let a very popular idle IP sit there and not make money.
Yeah.
They'll license it out to some studio who can do a somewhat decent job.
So we might get good Lord of the Rings games again in our lives.
Don't know about good Lord of the Rings games.
But we'll get Lord of the Rings games.
I think we're definitely still going to get Lord of the Rings games. Yeah.
They could even just be like, I mean, I don't know. I would say they're the lesser evil here. So they could just release the Nemesis patent. Like, if they don't care about games, it's just like, oh, well, then we don't.
And we would love to see that come back for the people that use that. Yeah.
Might be a little bit of good faith, and people like even that would probably get subscribers. Oh, Netflix are good guys. Let's fucking sign back up for that.
Does it worry you in terms of HBO? HBO was, I always associate that with, I mean, in the article it calls it prestige television, and I essentially kind of agree. I think with that as a descriptor for HBO, we were talking Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, I suppose when it was good. What else did HBO? Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. I just think
Walking Dead was AMC.
Like,
AMC's The Walking Dead, you're right, yeah.
Game of Thrones did like Chernobyl, and they did The Last of Us. And
Sopranos,
West
Wing, Westworld?
Westworld, they did.
So what was the robot one? What's the
Westworld.
robot?
West Wing is the one about the president.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So
I was thinking of the robot one.
We see all these things come to Netflix then, essentially, going forward. Game of Thrones on Netflix. I mean, that's a pretty big thing for them. And I see where you're coming from, Chris.
See new tiers to Netflix. It's like, this is the HBO tiers.
So that was the last bit of the article I wanted to talk about, where they talk about how their promised subscriptions that all the users are currently on will not change from today, but everything they say once the deal closes, I guess all bets are out the door. So what you see is if you want to watch HBO, if you ever want to see a HBO thing now, as opposed to just signing up to, did HBO have its own sign-up thing? Where could you watch HBO?
Yeah, HBO Max.
HBO Max. So instead of just having a standard subscription to HBO Max, you now have to have the premium of 3 tiers, the very top tier of a Netflix subscription to watch your Game of Thrones, which that could be like fucking 30 quid. Like Netflix is expensive already. Like Netflix is like, is it €18 a month to watch things 4K?
I think it's, to watch things 4K.
Or even, because the 1080 one I think was 12 or 16.
I didn't even realize they have tiers already.
Oh yeah, it's 720 is the cheapest.
Yeah. So you don't even get 1080p.
That's the only one when I do have Netflix, that's the only one I get. Is
I didn't even know there was tiers already.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And I think the one I'm on, which is the 1080, is $16.99. And I think then if you want to go for 4K, I think you're paying 30 quid a month. That's just for the quality of the shows that you're watching. That's not the shows themselves. So not only would you have a potential, the playback quality, you'll have a potential of like, oh yeah, and you'll now have to pay 50 quid a month if you want to watch things like Game of Thrones and The Last of Us Season 3. Like that's the kind of shit that I hate about these kind of things.
They also, you'll hate this, Chris, they also sack the streaming bitrate to try and get you to... It's like one of their obvious tactics to try and get you to upgrade. So like when I watch something on the 720p Netflix, the quality will be like 480p for the first 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
And then it will just flick. And they do a side by side with like the 4K version. Be like, you could be watching it in 4K for just this little bit extra.
See, I don't
they fuck with you.
This. We might be on the top tier. I don't know. Because we have Sky. And we just get Netflix with it.
You get
I think in some regards probably the better way to go about the subscriptions. But Luke, what you said is crazy because I paid for the 1080 one to watch Stranger Things because I was like, I do want to see this out. But I turned on Stranger Things.
Pay for a miserable time. Are you talking about season 5?
Season 5, and everyone's saying miserable time. I'm having a great time watching it. I'm really enjoying it. I don't think it's great TV, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Like
but
fucking Matthew McConaughey is a high school kid all over again. it's so weird.
They are too old in fairness. But I got it 5 minutes. So I've just started this subscription. I've just logged in, paid 17 quid for the first month or whatever. I watched 2 minutes of my Stranger Things before I'm hit with an ad to say, and it's split on the and it's a thumbnail from Stranger Things from the first season, and it says you could be watching it like this, and has my thing 1080p. The next thing beside of 4K. I'm like, fucking go away. I just bought a subscription. I'm 2 minutes into my show.
Yeah, we definitely don't have
Leave
any
me
of that
alone.
stuff. Yeah, I've never seen that before in my life.
So that's what I worry about is that yes, and again, you know, the gaming side, we're kind of not really talking about the gaming side of things here, but with that, does, you know, in order to play, if I want to play the next fucking Hogwarts Legacy, do I have to have a fucking gaming subscription to Netflix as well to do that? That's the part that I fear.
Yep.
We'll go on to our second last news. This is a mashup of 2 articles I put together, and I'm titling this AI Backlash. There's actual proper titles these articles I haven't put in. The first one is they're both IGN articles. The first one's a snippet from Wesley Yin-Pool's article. The second is the full article from Rebecca Valentine. Wesley Yin-Pool is talking about Expedition 33, and the second article is all about Larian Studios. And basically this is just in recent backlash to I suppose the discovery that generative AI has been used at some point in both these companies, and I thought it'd be a good place of discourse. So I'll go for the first Wesley Inpool article. Sandfall Interactive's record-breaking role-playing game launched with some placeholder textures built with generative AI. The developer patched them out 5 days after release, insisting that they made the cut by mistake. This went under the radar until recently when comments from Sandfall co-founder and producer Francois Maurice re-emerged. Speaking to El Pais for an article published in July, Maurice said, quote, "We use some AI, but not much. The key is that we're very clear about what we wanted to do and what to invest in. And, of course, technology has allowed us to do things that were unthinkable in a short time ago. Unreal Engine 5's tools and assets have been very important in improving the graphics, gameplay, and cinematics." So this was the reason it was taken away or disqualified from the Indie Game Awards, was because there was built-in generative AI into the shipped version of the game, which breaks their rules. Out of curiosity, do you guys think it's a fair assessment for the Indie Game Awards to do?
I think it's cool. Yeah,
I mean,
They
rules
do
are
them.
black and white.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks for them. I
think the
hate
question.
to see it, but yeah, if the rules are black and white, like we can't bend them for anyone. Otherwise, then it just becomes favoritism.
But I think the question is more: do you agree with the rule?
Oh,
Do you think that like any so like in this specific case, Expedition 33 had an AI generated texture that wasn't supposed to make the first cut, but they accidentally left in and patched out 5 days after release?
well, I mean, you say this like, but if it's still against the rules to have any AI in a shipped product, then it still breaks the rules. It's like a sports team, and when you had one guy like, I don't know how you accidentally dope, but if you accidentally doped for a little bit,
Fell on a needle.
yeah, he fell on a needle. I mean, he's still
Or
on
even
roids
people
or
who
something.
take certain drugs for certain pain or anti-inflammatory things that contain trace doses of whatever.
Oh, exactly.
That is,
yeah, there you go.
the most honest
Much
mistakes.
better example than falling on a
And
needle.
but I think the interesting part that I find about this is and I don't want AI to be a bigger part of the processes of all the things that we do going forward, but it doesn't matter what I say. But are potentially the Indie Game Awards back themselves into a corner with this rule? Because what does this look like 5 years from now in terms of what are developers using tool-wise in AI? Like, are the Indie Game Awards going to exclude some insane amounts of games from nominations because of this? Given how the technology is proceeding, given how developers, even indie developers, are beginning to lock into AI tools.
Yeah, I think they will, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Stand their ground.
Yeah,
I
think stand
jump
their ground.
back and forth with this. Like, I'm definitely anti-AI more than anything, but I've always talked about, like, I do see some value, especially with just, like, filling in some crap that you typically wouldn't hire someone to do. But I do think we just have to draw the line and just, like, cut it out, because we just keep feeding this beast, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's becoming a huge problem now, especially with, I mean, gaming might not really exist the way we think it is in a couple of years, with NVIDIA going to potentially just purely cloud-based subscriptions and not providing hardware for us to purchase anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, I think they stand their line for like 5 years, stand their line for like 10 years, and then when the complaints come out against, well, AI can be used in these kind of nuanced ways in games, then you can examine those arguments and be like, oh, well, what do you mean by that? And then if people do have good, obviously completely safe, ethical uses of AI in video games,
yep,
great.
and
Great.
legal regulation behind the usage of them, and yeah.
Does it become a prestige thing in video games? Like, you know, like let's say this, you know, the Indie Game Awards is the, I suppose, the Game Award company for, I would say they're probably the next biggest after the Game Awards themselves, right? And they focus on purely indie games. I would hope
I would say
that
the Golden Joystick is probably,
sorry, you're right, yeah. Or the DICE Awards as well, maybe are probably up there as well.
Mm.
But I would hope, like, my love for this would be that if they continue this going forward, loads of game companies using AI, it becomes this prestige thing, you know, like how we have retro games coming back with like the pixelation. You go with the old school way of developing games. This has become a prestige thing to say, well, hang on, you can only be considered for this award providing you're not using that tool that is so prevalent in the industry that the people go back and like, you know, oh, I want to go for this fucking award and build a game with no AI. Does that ever become a thing on people's minds? I would hope so. People steering the ship in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's a good incentive.
Luke, this next article kind of focuses on the art side of things for Larian Studios, so I thought this would be good for yourself. So this is going for Rebecca Valentine's article. This morning, the news broke that Larian Studios, this is from December 17th, I believe. The news broke that Larian Studios, developer of Baldur's Gate 3 and the upcoming just announced Divinity, is apparently using generative AI behind the scenes for things like concept art and placeholder text. The backlash has been swift and loud from the gaming community, and now Larian founder and game director Sven Vinke is responding to clarify his remarks, reaffirm that Larian is neither releasing a game with any AI components nor, quote, are we looking at trimming down teams to replace them with AI, and that AI is something we are constantly discussing internally through the lens of making everyone's working day better, not worse. The original news comes from a Bloomberg interview with Vinke. In it, Vinke admits that Larian is, quote, pushing hard, it's Bloomberg's phrasing, on generative AI, even though it hasn't led to big gains in efficiency. Specifically, the studio is using the technology to, quote, explore ideas, flesh out PowerPoint presentations, develop concept art, and write placeholder text, end quote. Vinke reassures that there won't be any AI-generated content in the final version of Divinity. Quote, everything is human actors. We're writing everything ourselves, but it sounds like this approach isn't going over smoothly with everyone. Bloomberg's piece acknowledges that some internally at Larian have pushed back, though Vinke says, I think, quote, at this point, everyone at the company is more or less okay with the way we're using it, end quote. This news hasn't gone over super well with the community, though. On Blue Sky, Larian is being lambasted by a number of individuals across the game development community, including some former Larian employees. This is a Blue Sky tweet, message, I don't know what you call them. Quote, consider my feedback. I loved working at larianstudios.com until AI, writes a former Larian environmental artist. Reconsider and change your direction, like yesterday. Show your employees some respect. They are world-class and do not need AI assistance to come up with amazing ideas. In response to this backlash, Vinke has issued IGN a lengthy follow-up response, which we've published here in full. Okay, so this is the response. We've been continuously increasing our pool of concept artists, writers, and storytellers, are actively pushing together writer rooms, casting and recording performances from actors, and hiring translators. Since concept art is being called out explicitly, we have 23 concept artists and have job openings for more. These artists are creating concept art day in, day out for ideation and production use. Everything we do is incremental and aimed at having people spend more time creating. Any ML tool used well is addictive to creative team or individual's workflow, not a replacement, is additive to a creative team or individual's workflow, not a replacement tool for their skill or craft. We are researching and understanding the cutting edge of ML as a tool set for creatives to use and see how it can make their day-to-day lives easier, which will let us make better games. We're neither releasing a game with any AI components, nor are we looking at trimming down teams to replace them with AI. While I understand it's a subject that invokes a lot of emotion, it's something we are constantly discussing internally through the lens of making everyone's working day better, not worse. He followed up then with a post on Twitter. The post reads, holy fuck guys, we're not, quote, pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. We have a team of 72 artists, 23 are concept artists, and we are hiring more. The art they create is original and I'm very proud of what they do. I was asked explicitly about concept art and our use of generative AI. I answered that we use it to explore things. I didn't say we use it to develop concept art. The artists do that, and they are indeed world-class artists. We use AI tools to explore references, just like we use Google and art books. At the very early ideation stages, we use it as a rough outline for composition, which we would replace with original concept art. There is no comparison. I talked about how we use ML here. If you would like to know more, he leaves a quote on Twitter, not a quote, a link where you can check out where he talks about it. And he ends by saying, we've hired creators for the talent, not for their ability to do what a machine suggests, but they can experiment with these tools to make their lives easier. Is that the way we should all be using AI? Is that a slippery slope to what a company begins to do?
I can't speak towards art, really. Don't really know the whole process.
I think
any of the process except for pencil to paper.
I'm going to give Luke the floor here after I say this, but my worry about this is even if it's only in these early development stages, generative AI, as far as I'm concerned, is a thief. It has stolen works of art all over the internet without any sort of copyright laws in place or giving any sort of accreditation to those who made it or created it. So therefore, any use of generative AI, as far as I'm concerned, even if it's for the beginning of your processes, is theft. Is maybe a bit too strong of an opinion, but that's my opinion of generative AI. Luke, the man with the experience. Your floor is yours.
So that critique is basically the critique that most artists have about Gen AI and its use in art, which is that these models are trained off of other artists' work without those artists' permission or blah blah or compensation or even knowledge a lot of the time. And several AI companies have been caught lying about this. And it's just kind of a known thing that's known to be true. Specifically with this idea, whether it's ethical to use AI and machine learning technologies to generate reference material that your concept artists then will riff off of. I definitely don't love it because I think you're going to generate like the kind of reference material that you do generate will be informed by the black box that is the AI model that's been built. That will take it in a very specific direction, but that's nothing to do with like ethics of AI. That's more to do with like artistic process choices. If I could as well, I did a Warner Brothers show a couple of years ago, on which the concept art team were asked to use an AI tool, and there's huge backlash against it. The purpose of the AI tool was to upscale images in the pipeline. So basically they were given these like photographs, and the photographs needed to be 4K, but they weren't like taken at 4K or whatever. So they had to digitally upscale them using AI.
Why? Didn't we kind of perfect this technology years ago? Like, couldn't we do that with Photoshop for use?
I don't think we can even do it now, and the AI certainly couldn't do it. That's a myth. Zoom and enhance isn't real. But that's a separate topic. But basically, it was just all that ended up being was like some company out there promising that they could do something with AI that they just couldn't. It wasn't real. But you saw a lot of the backlash within the company against AI just being this, like largely what it is, this grift and this anti-artistry kind of tool. And I think there is a place for conversations to be had by artists and creatives about where... So like, I think theoretically in that example, if the technology worked and if you could actually upscale things with AI, then... I
don't even think that would be AI though. That would just be a really fucking intense algorithm that just calculates things. I guess AI is just learning. A really intense algorithm, but I think we might be playing a little fast and loose with what we call AI too.
Well, that's the marketers as well. Like it's the buzzword that sells products. But yeah, that's if theoretically it could do that, then is that impinging on like artistry, or is it like bringing things in a specific generic direction because of the model that's in the black box? I don't think it's doing any of those things. So in that particular case, I think there was like room for discussion about how this can be like, if this is AI and it is being used and it's helping the artists and it's speeding them up, you then come to a conversation between, okay, so your concept artists need to be artists who are trained to use AI, and you won't hire artists who aren't trained to use AI. So that opens a whole new echelon of the conversation there. So no, I think there is. I don't think it's a black and white issue. Like nothing's fucking black and white. And I do think there is room to have conversations like that. But I do think, largely speaking, it sounds like the head of Larian in this case is kind of doing a bit of hand waving over it. No, we just use it to generate like references for, and just to be clear, references are like you look at a thing and that maybe gives you an idea.
Yeah, but you're still looking at it. It's basically like, hey, I've stolen the Mona Lisa from the Louvre. Here it is. Take a look at it. Let that inspire you to create something. You're still being inspired from theft. Like
kind of, yeah. It's maybe a bit of an oversimplification because, yeah, it's the theft that AI does is a little murkier than that because it's not just taking an artwork.
Yeah, sorry, I was being a bit facetious.
No, it's fine. No, but your point isn't totally moot, but it's also like not totally. It's not one to one. Like you are combining lots of different works of art, so you're stealing from lots of people to make this work, and without permission. And that's the big. So I do think in this case, like with the Larian situation, I do think that it's like that's a fair thing to say is unethical, and that you can. But it's also very easy for the head of the studio to just hand wave all this and be like, no, it's just, we're just using it for this and we're just using it for that. And it kind of like distracts from like why that's an unethical thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little shitty, but it's not like he said, like the head of the studio said, they are having conversations about it all the time inside the studio. And I'm sure that they are. But whether those conversations actually result in them having robust policies around AI, that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see this whole thing
regulated to fuck.
Yeah. I'd like him to have a little bit more self-awareness and like read the room a little better.
I mean, like, great that the generative AI stuff isn't entering your game.
Yeah.
But you're still using generative AI, which is a morally, I think, corrupt tool of AI.
It's morally dubious, that's for sure. It's not necessarily the most evil thing ever. It's not even necessarily like morally.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here a bit, just because the one thing I've never understood, and like these guys, they're getting their concept artists to come up with an idea that's stealing work, then they're gonna like kind of use that as a concept for their work.
Potentially, yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm not a professional artist, but I know if I had to design a dragon or a monster, I'd be hitting the internet and looking at pictures of dragons and monsters, and I would be essentially copying somebody else's work.
But those pictures
but
those pictures of dragons and monsters, you'd be able to see who created those. You'd be able to, and I don't even know if you're checking out on someone's, was it DeviantArt or Pinterest, wherever these things might be. For example, in terms of my experience, is that like a click and going onto the website to view this picture is probably traffic for the person in one way, sense or the other. So the artist in some way, and even if it's subconsciously for you, you're going onto someone's page to see the work that they've created to get and to draw out that, which is, it's fine. I get where you're coming from, Chris, with that, but you're still seeing in some way, shape or form an art piece that was created by an individual and their name, whether or not you're paying to use it, whatever. I get that, but generative AI is just taking all of these people's work with no sort of accreditation.
AI be doing essentially the same, like scraping the website? Like that's still more traffic for the website.
Yeah,
you don't know if it's a person or not.
You absolutely do have a point, Chris. Like, and that is the main argument made at the heart of whether AI is theft or not. Is because if
you're taking that generated image and then throwing it up there, then technically you're not even a fucking artist. But.
Yeah. But yeah, it's whether or not reference counts as theft is kind of like the argument at the core of like whether AI is theft. That's why it's not like black or white. Like if you look at something in a book or whatever, and that's exactly the argument that the studio head makes. Like if you look at something in a book, and
which is the only drawing I've ever done, is I've always had to like look at something and just like, that's a cool idea for like a sword or a helmet or whatever.
You have a reference or you have an inspiration. Yeah, that is exactly the point where this whole conversation gets murky, and you're like, well, it's kind of. Yeah, is that like stealing in a kind of a way? And the art community has never been asked to like answer that question until now, until like AI has become a thing. I will say there are a lot of specifically concept artists, like very famous concept artists, ones that work in video games, like Jonas Dorough is one who generate all their own reference material. Like there's a lot of artists who do generate their own reference material. And what that means is like Jonas Dorough spends his time flying all over the world with his camera, taking photos of environments that he thinks are visually interesting. That's wild, though, and, he's a cool guy. He's wild. A really interesting guy. I don't know about that. But he just goes to like Red Rock Canyon or he goes to Hawaii. Well, that's it. They pay him like insane money to like look after this. He just has his like tablet. He has his camera. He flies all around the world. He flies wherever he wants that he thinks is going to be interesting. Takes loads of photos and just kind of mood boards through them until he gets the image of the. And he did like the environments for, I didn't love Final Fantasy 15, but he did a lot of the concept work for the vast environments of the world, which were sick as hell. And so there are artistic processes that do use, and it's always what you're encouraged to do as an artist, is to look at the world around you for reference. Like nothing will do, anything you're going to end up on a page, nothing will do the original version of that better than nature. Like nature is the ultimate one that you want to be taking reference from all the time. And that's not a black or white take. Not everyone's going to agree with me on saying that. I'm not even sure if I agree with that idea myself. But that's to end up on a fence-sitting position. I don't know. Maybe
interesting. Yeah,
it's an interesting and deep topic. I just specifically with this thing with Larian, I would like the head of the studio to be a little less hand wavy and a little less like. Everybody shut up, we're not doing anything wrong here.
Yeah,
and actually address the heart.
Because it is kind of just slipping around the eye. He has formed his words in such a way, not like, I love Larian, I love this dude, I love the speeches that he made at Baldur's Gate when he accepted the award. I was like, yep, that's the changes I want to see in the gaming industry. But at the same time, he's not mentioned or brought up generative AI from the ethical standpoint. It's like, it's not appearing in our final product, but what are the ethics about using it at all in the first place, which he kind of hasn't addressed. You're right. Like, that's the part that I'm like, okay.
Yeah, if he goes a little bit deeper on it and like maybe shows the process somehow. I don't know if that's like, that would like be a breaking NDAs or whatever, or like leaking a bit of privacy into their pipeline. But like if people could see, if the artists at the studio actually came out and were like, no, this pipeline is actually sick, like we like the way we use this for reference material, we don't think it impinges on our ability to create art, and they would have it would be dubious because they would be incentivized to say that because they want to keep their fucking jobs.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the people who have left, there was a section of the article that it included because it was loads of Reddit posts and tweets and stuff like that at Larian Studios, and lots of them were very critical of, like, I'm a former employee or I was an employee up to the point where AI came on board.
Okay.
So there's lots of people who have decided that that's not congruent with their worth ethic and said, well, if this is here, I'm out. It's essentially like, so. But again, like that, we all have different opinions. Some people might be very, very strong about that, and other people are like, hey, it helps, so I'm going to use it. We'll go on to our final story. It's a really good news one. It's about people being hit with mandatory overtime. We love to hear it, guys. We love to hear it. Naughty Dog employees hit with mandatory overtime on Intergalactic. This is coming from Daniel Rendau, a game developer, from the 22nd of December, 2025. It's a short article. Mandatory overtime has reportedly reared its head at Naughty Dog Studio, and with workers spending a minimum of 8 hours a week over their normal schedules. The news comes from Bloomberg, which reports that overtime period is being imposed to, quote, get the production back on track after several missed deadlines, end quote, on far future action titled Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. While Naughty Dog didn't comment on the story, staffers speaking honestly confirmed that the company is tracking the extra hours on an internal spreadsheet. Workers were called into the physical office 5 days a week during the overtime period, which is up from 3, causing havoc for employees who needed to make last-minute family arrangements. And employees were also told not to exceed 60 hours per week. While the studio has a sterling reputation for its output, including the Uncharted and Last of Us series, the piece also notes that it's sometimes unhealthy, or has a sometimes unhealthy work culture. A sea change with a new assembly of producers was introduced in 2021, but many of those producers have reportedly since left Naughty Dog. Management has communicated that the work week will return to 3 days in office, and most staff are finished with the mandatory overtime period already, though the company did say that it plans to provide a more detailed schedule for 2026 after the holiday break. Is mandatory overtime just another word for crunch?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You can see it as that.
Because I think the weird thing was, I don't know, I'd still call it crunch. Like, it's just not good to have to enforce something like this.
But that's a very dirty word in the gaming industry now, so they're never going to.
Well, I think
the
moment you label it overtime, though, implies that they are paying them appropriate overtime wages, whereas a crunch, you just look at it like you're just eating those hours yourself.
Yeah, there's that as well.
I don't know.
Yes, and if it doesn't,
or it could just be PR.
If it doesn't take place towards the end of the project as well, and there's not like a concrete deadline, that it's the idea of crunch is like you have to get all this done, and it has to be done by this deadline.
By the release date, or
if they are trying to get back on schedule and like bringing in more intense hours earlier in the schedule so that they don't have to crunch in quotations, then maybe it's a bit better.
Maybe, yeah. And like I said, it's already supposedly this first batch is already finished. I think the thing that worries me is that they plan to provide a more detailed schedule for 2026. I don't think Intergalactic will be a 2026 release. It strikes me as 2027. So I worry that those Naughty Dog developers probably have a long 2026 out of them. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing that you kind of say, is it? But I guess, most jobs, if you've got projects that need to be done, got to work overtime to finish them.
I'm not opposed to overtime. It happens.
Yeah.
I've worked jobs like that. It's just kind of the nature of many industries. I am kind of opposed, and there's a certain I got to get this done. I know we as a company have to get this done. Let's get it pushed through the door. Mandatory, the moment they throw mandatory and they force you, I don't know about that. I understand what's going on here. I'd be willing to help, but now you're kind of forcing me. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too, don't tell me what to do.
But no, it is a case of do their contracts say that they are under the cosh to work mandatory overtime at the discretion of the employer? Do you know what I mean? Or
do contracts mean anything these days? They just get rid of you, right?
I think I think their contracts probably just put it very vaguely that whatever their hours their employer says they have to work, they have to work.
Yeah.
It's not up for negotiation.
The fact that they said no more than 60 hours a week, that's probably because of an actual legal limit.
At least for where some of the people are based, or from the studios are based.
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
if you're forced to go over 60, then the state or wherever has to step in, and then the company's held liable for doing illegal workplace practices.
I think it's shitty and that they should do better. I get that creative projects, especially creative projects, do just lapse into overtime. That just happens.
Would you say it's weird to have it this early on in the process?
Well, that's it. This might be a that particular point might be a good example of them trying to prevent them getting to a stage where they have to just crunch and like ask for infinite hours off their employees and stuff like that. So this could be a step in the right direction, but whether it is or not, I think it's a shitty practice, and you should stand up for your employees. Basically, where this always comes from for me is like, you're working towards a deadline and you're behind on schedule and you have to get it out by this date.
Yeah.
Why do you have to get it out by that date? Like, who will it upset if you don't get it out by that date?
Investors. Which
Investors,
is a big
exactly.
Issue, yeah.
So
fuck deadlines, man. Just, let us get it done when it's done.
So what it comes down to is whether the studio is willing to stand up for their employees and turn to the investors and be like, hey, we actually are not going to deliver this when we thought we were going to deliver this. We ran into some speed bumps. We're sorry about that. We're not going to ask our employees to work more hours. We're going to extend this contract, and that obviously starts a negotiation or whatever. But it's like, we're going to fight to extend this contract, and we're Naughty Dog. We made The Last of Us.
We
know
what we're doing.
We're going to make a very profitable, very adaptable, fucking versatile project, and it's going to blow everyone's minds, and it's going to sell billions. So you're going to let us extend the deadline a little bit. Like, they're Naughty Dog. They have a bit of weight to throw around.
you know that meme with like, it's the cartoon guy and he's just like pointing at something at his palm. All I can picture is that, but just like it's Silk Song in the palm.
Yeah. Look at this thing. Look what it did. Yeah, it would be fine. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't mind the idea potentially that if something's fallen off track that, you say, hey, would you guys mind working overtime so we can get this? Because if people are passionate, they will. My biggest concern is how early in the process this is happening, because we don't expect to see this game probably until 2027, late 2027 at the earliest. That if you're already kind of crunching at this stage, and as you said, maybe they're doing it to avoid a major crunch.
Maybe they're being proactive,
or maybe it's a sign that there will be some insane crunch later on in this project.
The other thing could be like, we don't know the whole scoop. The reason they could think they're getting way behind is because like maybe they've structured their development cycle in like sprints week to week, and then on top of that, like, we should have this much done within the next week or two. But they're also building on a new engine that they have fucking zero experience with, so that's slowing them down at the beginning. But
unforeseen
they could hit
circumstances.
They could hit their stride at some point down the road.
Well, take note, gentlemen. We have discussed in our first news episode of 2026 a little bit of crunch with Naughty Dog. Let's see what December 2026 holds. How many articles have we seen about bad crunch at Naughty Dog, or how little?
Yeah.
And we can say, hey, I was wrong or right.
If it gets to the release of the game and there's no more stories about crunch or overtime, and they release it like that, I'd be I don't mind this story in that case, if that is the case.
Yeah, I kind of want to see, like, the end of the year, I want to see GTA release and whatever this Intergalactic release. And I want to hear, like, both companies have the same exact, like, horror stories with, like, crunch times and overtime and stuff. But, like, interview the employees, see if there was just, like, fucking working for this company was horrible, and, like, working for this company, it's like, we did it because... We did it because we liked it. I would like to see if
I can already see
like treat them different.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Rockstar has a really bad rep.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog doesn't really, in terms of The Last of Us and stuff. It's not really in their MO to always have serious bouts of crunch. So if it did come to that, I can imagine what those interviews with staff would be like. The people at Naughty Dog were probably way happier with the... But we'll wait and see. Gentlemen, that's all the news we have for... There was a couple other things in December, but we only have a certain amount of time for the show, and I didn't care for the news stories, so you're not hearing them. We will be going into the post show a little bit later on. You can check it out at patreon.com/the gift of gaming. I would usually read out my promotional stuff mid-episode. I haven't done that this time because I didn't have it with me. So I'll rewrite that and we'll get it for the next episode. But if you like what you're hearing, check out patreon.com/the gift of gaming for a rake of new content. And we're going to go talk about some more news from December on that. Luke, thank you so much for being here, and a Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Chris, thank you for being here, and a Happy New Year to you too.
Cool.
And to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.